All right, so welcome back. For those who don't know, because we had some technical difficulties last time, we've already shot this episode, but we're gonna reshoot it. So hopefully we can keep it as close to how it was the last time. I still have the same talking points, so I didn't change anything. I don't want to, since I learned some new information, I don't want to do that. I'm just gonna go back through it like we did it the first time. So
Okay.
hopefully, everything goes well how it's supposed to go. And yeah, so thank you for not only doing the show the first time, but coming back to reshoot the show. So thank you, especially taking time out on today, the last day of 2024. So it's fitting, So I appreciate you making the time to do this.
Of course. I have a disclosure. So I may or may not have said some things on that first one. I was like, dang, I probably shouldn't have said that.
Well, that's the
Oh, it may
thing that
have worked
I
out for the
live my
better.
life. I live my life with things work out how they supposed to. So whatever you said on the first one, it'll never be aired again because it's deleted. So we good. So we good. So let's pop it off. For those who don't know, as you see on the screen, you see Fredericia, but obviously I've known her whole life. Of course, it's Fredericia as well, but Ree. So we kind of touch on that and how that was how you got that name?
So, my nickname has nothing to do with my full name. My cousin, Aaron Dow, and I'm sure you know Aaron from Baylor. He, as a kid, couldn't pronounce my name, and so he just randomly started calling me Riri, and the name just stuck with me. So that's how I got my nickname. It has nothing at all to do with my actual name.
So I'm glad that we touched on that because that's like one of those fun facts that most people would be like, "Oh, Ree, that's your name," not knowing has nothing to do with your real name.
Yeah.
So glad you could share that for the viewers, myself included. So thank you for that. Of course, you kind of touched on Baylor a little bit. So can you kind of dive into growing up in Lubbock and what that meant to you? Obviously, you're no longer a resident of Lubbock, but you kind of started your roots there. So if you want to touch on that a little bit as I said the last time, you don't have to go too deep, just kind of, some of the years you kind of remember from the
Yeah.
beginning.
So, I actually grew up or I was raised on Baylor. I lived on Parkway Drive. My Aunt Peggy stayed on Baylor, of course, down the street from you and Qlu and A. Lou, Rich, all of you guys. We were down the street, 2603 East Baylor. And so that's where I grew up or was raised, even though I technically lived on Parkway Drive, still in East Lubbock.
And I think that's so cool because a lot of people don't know this, but it's a lot of people who either grew up or were raised on Baylor, like a lot,
Yes.
and sometimes I be thinking about that, as I drive down the street, you can remember like, oh, they used to be here or they used to be here, or even like your cousin, what I'm saying, that stayed on the corner of Aspen, so it just was like
Yeah.
just the whole thing of just people that kind of grew up there. Unfortunately, we lost some of those people along the
Yeah.
way. Some of those people are locked up, some people have moved on, but it's still cool to kind of think back of all the people and the memories that we kind of shared on that street because it was just kind of cool because no matter what, no matter which house you kind of stopped at, if you was hungry, you needed something to drink, or if you need to get a whooping, you could get it at everybody's house on that street pretty much.
No, for
Everybody
real.
had the green light.
Did we were trying to think one day, was it Adrian Richardson? Did they have a candy store at one point?
I
Someone
know they had
over
a
there
Coke
did.
machine. I know they had a
A Coke
Coke
machine.
machine.
Okay, okay, that's what it was. A
Yeah.
Coke machine. Yeah,
Yeah,
you're
they had a
right.
Coke machine for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah,
Yeah.
you're right.
Because I'm trying to think who did anybody have a candy store on our street?
No, we went to was it
Colgate?
Colgate?
Yeah. I think
Yeah.
it was Colgate was the closest one because the
Hmm.
other one was like Prass Brown or whatever. But yeah, I think we only had actually we had two Coke machines. I think the dude they used to call Birdman, I think they had a Coke machine too. Like I don't know, it's
On
a
the
little bit down the
opposite
street.
side of the street.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah.
know what you're
I
talking
think
about.
that was the only things we had on our street was Coke machines and sorry drugs and bootlegs. No candy, no candy for the kids. So, so let's move it on because you kind of touched on this as well. So let's kind of discuss your family. So just your initial family. We'll get into your other siblings as well, but kind of just discuss like your family that you grew up with in your household. And I know some of them may not have been directly in your household, but still was part of your household.
Yeah, for sure. So my mom has three kids, me, my little brother Derek, my little brother JD. Um, it's weird that we kind of didn't grow up in the house together. I grew up in the house with my stepbrother, Aaron, or you may know him as Ace. So he and we actually grew up in the house together. And then once my mom had my little brother, along came his other brothers. And so there was Vundrick, Smokey, Ace, Derek. I was the only girl. And then I had a stepsister, Monique, and another stepsister, Matasha. Um, really didn't grow up with Matasha as much until I got older. We were, introduced, but in the house for sure, me and Ace, we actually grew up together. My mom worked a lot even before like actual Parkway Drive was Parkway Drive. So I was also raised on Baylor with my Aunt Peggy. I'm even in their family pictures. So me and my cousin Chunk, like we are like this. Like that's my big brother because I grew up over there. My mom worked a lot when I was younger, and so my aunties they helped raise me.
And see, that's another fun fact too, because just growing up, you don't ever really pay attention to stuff like that, like people's mom working and stuff. It's kind of like I saw, not to say that we were, but it's like when people say you didn't know you were poor because everybody around you was living the same. But
Yeah,
we always was hanging out, so you don't know if people mama at work or not. You just know that we seeing Ree and we seeing Chunk and Aaron. We just seeing them every day. We don't
yeah,
know what people mamas and daddies is doing. So to come back 30 years later to discuss that, it's kind of like, oh, so that's why she was, over there all the time, which is cool because
yeah.
at least you're not with strangers, you're still with family. So
Oh,
that's
for
that's kind
sure.
of dope to see full circle as well.
And then,
Wow,
like
see
you
that
said, my Aunt Joanne was right there on Aspen. And so I had all my cousins, Nikki, Aaron, Neil, and my bigger cousins. They were all in that house. So we all just kind of grew up together. It was really like two generations of us, but it was a lot of us.
and it's crazy to say this, and I don't know if you'll feel the same way, but growing up around like Chunk and them house was like you could have a good time, but if you wanted to have like the teenage young adult life, you have to go to Aspen. Like, it wasn't Miss Maggie wasn't letting you get down like that over there. But over there on Aspen, there was a little bit more gray area going on over there because they was older, of course. But
I was the opposite then. So that was like cause and
oh,
y'all are a
true,
little
true,
older
true,
than me
true,
too.
true. I forgot,
So
forgot. Yeah, I
I was
forgot.
definitely at my Aunt Peggy house all the time.
Yeah.
I'm a Baylor girl, but yeah, when you hanging with Brian and the older, y'all
Yeah, it
y'all's
was a
on
good which
Aspen.
which of course like I wasn't hanging with them either. I'm just saying when if you wanted to do some young adult fun, that's where it would take
Yeah,
place.
yeah.
On Aspen for sure.
They used to lock us out over there, so we
That's
was
that's what I'm saying because they were the young adults. They were doing things that we shouldn't have been privy to or
right.
shouldn't have been doing. So they did a good job, which we don't have that nowadays. People just let you come on in. So salute to our OGs because they actually did what was right.
Yeah, they tried to shelter us for the most part.
They tried. They tried to do it, but hey, at some point we just started doing it.
Yeah. But also, like you said back then, like we were all outside, we was hanging, everybody knew everybody, you knew everybody, grandmas, mamas, sisters, brothers. Now you don't see that at all. You don't even know your neighbor now.
Man, you drive down Baylor and it's just so funny. As I said, I just look at the houses because I know the people who used to live there, but it's very rare that you see people outside. Like the only person I see when I go outside nowadays is of course like A Rich, me, Miss Dorothy, but you don't see nobody outside. You can go down
Yeah.
Baylor, it's like nobody. You don't even know who live in them houses anymore. You just see a bunch of
Mhm.
cars and no people.
That's so
That's
sad.
it. Yeah, the times have changed.
Yeah.
Okay, so we touched on your immediate family. So let's talk about how it was growing up with your dad's, siblings. I mean your dad kids, so your siblings, because you do have a nice amount of siblings as well from your dad. So I think that's always cool to not only have like, those three kids from your mom, but then of course, your step brothers and sisters or whatever, but then you have your other brothers and sisters as well. So you have a nice, well-rounded family, of older, younger. So I just think that's very interesting because I didn't come from that. It was just me and my two sisters. So if you don't mind, touch on that.
Yeah, I am very, very blessed when it comes to like having that support and having that family network. So my dad has 13 kids. And for the most part, we are all pretty close. Of course, there's always room for growth in any relationship. So the same thing with my siblings. But my dad served a lot of time in prison, so he was absent uh, for some years of our lives, but we all still maintain contact. Primarily my big brother and my big sister, Shonda and Antoine, they kind of made sure that we all knew each other and stayed in contact. Um, I think I was telling you last time, I remember my Aunt Ann, she would drive from Dallas to Lubbock, pick up me and my little sister, take us to Big Springs to visit my dad, drop us back off in Lubbock, then she would drive all the way back to Dallas. So
Yeah,
now
salute to
I
her.
look back,
Salute
I'm
to
like,
her.
I wouldn't did that. Somebody would have to meet me or something like that that's a lot of
Yeah,
driving.
salute to her. But that
But
kind of show you how much love she had for you and
oh,
wanting
for
to continue that
sure.
relationship with her brother, you know. So that's
Yes.
dope. That's dope.
Yes. So my dad, even though he was in prison, he has always been active in my life. Like always. He went to prison. I was like 8 or 9. And I did have my stepdad who helped provide for me when I was on Parkway Drive. And when my dad got out of prison, of course, we had some bumps in the road, but now that's my parents, both of my parents have become my best friends. I've had some issues, some disagreements with both, especially as I grew into an adult. But I cherish my relationship with my parents, love them to death. And despite my dad being in prison, he has always been active in our lives. All It's 13 of us, and he tried his best to provide financially, spiritually, emotionally for all of us.
And I don't even think I touched on this last time, but just talking to you today and hearing what you said, it just kind of came to me, I should say. Of course, we don't have to discuss what, but kind of growing up, for those who know you and I know you, you were able to not have to want for much, you know, in most aspects for the
Yeah.
most part. I know, of course, you sometimes you probably did, but growing up with your dad being in prison, and then of course like your stepdad and those situations, like did you, first of all, like I know you said it was bumps in the road, first of all I want to know, did you have like any resentment for your dad, or the fact that you had a stepdad in place that kind of help out? And two, like growing up the way that you did that make you um I want to say it the right way. Is that what you kind of looked for in men like early on, if that makes sense? Because I know like most people see like their dad and that's who they want, you know,
Yeah.
as a girl. So I just wanted to ask those two things because I didn't get to ask them the first time.
So the first part of your question, I don't I honestly don't know if I had resentment towards my dad. I know there were some times that I became angry and it was kind of like the why me situation. I was thankful to have my stepdad and he provided for me without a doubt. Now, as I got older, me and my stepbrother, we joke all the time, like we were verbally abused in that house. My stepdad cussed us out all the time, and it was not even like he was being mean. Sometimes he was, sometimes it was just normal conversation, but that's just how he communicated. And he was very strict too, as far as material things. Of course, he was in the streets, and so you're right. I didn't want for anything. Like I was definitely spoiled, growing up, and I do think that I became like a product of my environment, or you know how they say like it's not in you or it's not on you, it's in
It's
you.
in you for
I
sure.
I do feel that way as far as like the hustle, the grind. I was surrounded by a lot of drug dealers, pimps, prostitutes, that's kind of what I have always been around growing up. And so that fast money, seeing all the money, of course you're tempted to want to do those things because that's what you know, that's what you see. I think I just kind of, and I won't say that I'm just this innocent person that has never done anything that I should not have,
Can't you
but
you can't be if you from Parkway, baby. We all
right.
have fell short. All of us. All of us.
But I do thank God that I was able to just kind of use that same hustle into something legal, into school, into work, same ethic, same grind, same hustle. It takes a lot longer,
I was gonna say
but
just a little slower, but it's the same. It's the same, but it's just a
it's
longer
slow.
process, baby.
It's slow. That's slow money for show money, but it's slow.
Yeah, yeah, it's
Um,
slow for sure.
but yeah, and so I do think that I became attracted to those type of guys. Like that's what I knew. Guys that were in the streets, that hustle, saying, that was the lifestyle. And I felt like
Mhm.
you was gonna have to be able to provide what my dad or my stepdad provided for me in a relationship. And so those are the type of men that provided those things, in our neighborhoods or our area.
And that's gonna bring up another point, which is kind of a side topic, but since we're here, I want to stay on it, and we'll get back to the other talking points. But it's always interesting to me to hear that dynamic because as a man, of course, I didn't hustle, sell drugs like that and making money. So I could, I'm just looking at it from my perspective. I could be the perfect guy for this girl or this woman or whatever. But if I don't meet those things of what she's used to, like being spoiled, being able to, let's go out to eat and spend $200, or let's go on this trip, spend 1,000, taking these impromptu trips, just because I'm not what that is. I feel like sometimes, and it's not a good or bad thing. It's, as you said, it's just a product of our environment. Is that we miss out on those perfect situations. I don't want to say miss out because it happened the way it's supposed to, but we
Yeah.
tend to not be in the right situations and have to take a longer process because if you come from a background like yours where your daddy had the funds to do so, and you talk to person A that don't have the funds to do so, you're like, nope. If my daddy can take me to Miami and you can only take me to Dallas, I ain't going. I don't want to be with you. So like I said, I didn't really want to have a discussion about it, but that was just interesting that you pointed
Yeah.
that out because I've always said that, like me being a girl dad, I was like, I want to show my daughter like all the things that she need to be exposed to, but at the same time, like I don't have the means to just drop and take her to Paris either, though. And so the world we live in, hell, with social media people, they might can say, let's go to Dubai or something. And I'm like, damn,
Yeah.
like I haven't even been able to take my daughter to Dubai. So I see both sides of it, but that's very interesting. And I like that the fact that you brought it up that that's what you were around, you're a product of your environment, which I think, unless some drastic happen, you still do have time to maybe go down that path and realize, like, yeah, that's not really what I wanted. I thought I did, and it was cool because
Oh,
my
for
dad
sure.
did, but that's not what I wanted. So,
For sure.
so I'm glad that we could do
I
that.
mean, even now with my relationship now, like my kid's dad was in the streets and his transition has been amazing, but it has been hard for someone
Yep.
that's used to being in the streets, making that fast money to now having to work and wait for a paycheck. Like that's a struggle that only he knows, and I've never seen anyone outside of him go through that. I mean, my dad for sure, but he was in prison and just came home, a different man with a different mind frame, and he already knew he wanted to get into cars. With Brandon, it was kind of like literally starting from ground zero, like what am I gonna do? And so
Cold turkey.
watching that has been a struggle. It has taught me some patience and definitely growth. That material stuff really don't mean nothing to me anymore. I can provide those things for myself, and I'm sure with the tools and things you're putting in place for your daughter, that kind of stuff won't mean much to her because she'll be able to do those things on her own should she want to. Like it's relationships are about more than what you can do for me. And
Yeah.
I think that back then that's kind of what the relationships were based on. It was kind of about the appearance and showing up with the big rims and the jewelry and those types of things. And now you get to a place where you outgrow all of this. Like that's a turn off, really. That's a
Yeah,
bad
like
investment.
you bad investment and you showing too much attention or you want too much attention. Hey, give me some of your time because most of the time, and
Yes.
maybe you can speak for me. I know I wasn't a hustler like that, but most of the time when people buying stuff like that, it's because they've been fucking around or they're not gonna be around, so they just dropping this off or whatever so they can do something else. So it's
Yep.
not like they actually putting in time. They just trying to buy time. Like, here
Yeah,
you
for
go, I'm
sure.
gone.
For
Sorry, I
sure.
came home at 5 a.m. Here go $1,000, So, but that's cool, man. So, I don't want to move on, but before I say salute to BP, man, because that's dope. I appreciate anybody who can, go sit down, be away from their family, come back and make a transition. So, salute to him for that. I've been knowing the cat, like I didn't know him like that because once we kind of grew up and he did his thing, I did mine. But from dumb boy and everything, I've been knowing him for a long time. So so all
Yeah.
our younger days. So cool,
Yeah.
cool cat. So I'm glad that he transitioned. Tell him I said thank you.
I know I talked to Chunk all the time. He's like, man, I'm so proud of him. Like, I'm ready to come home, which he's coming home soon, and he's like looking forward to working. And I'm like, cousin, is not easy, but
It's
also the
not.
streets ain't the same. So you probably gonna appreciate working rather than getting mixed up in that type of stuff. But man, I admire guys like you and your crew who grew up in that same street where you could have easily made some money, some quick money, and y'all didn't. Y'all didn't fall for it. Like I admire that. I salute y'all for sure.
Well, I got a couple of reasons why, as we mentioned earlier, the OGs for sure, because they kept you on the straight and narrow. But my grandparents, they was not having it. Like it wasn't they wasn't going for it. And
Yeah.
three, like a lot of people who close to me know this, but Corey Connor, of course, whatever happened, he doing life, but
Yeah.
that's tough, but he would not let me. He used to tell me, if I ever see you with a cracked sack, I'm gonna whoop your ass. You know what I'm saying? Like, so he would not let me. And it was crazy because, as you said, growing up, Corey wasn't ever rich, but his family came was hustling,
Yeah.
so he always had some money. And so I would look up to him. And he in high school, he wrote a paper about how he looked up to me and wanted to be me. And that kind
Oh
of like
wow.
changed my whole life. Like a lot of people don't know that, but that's the kind of people I grew up around that was in the streets, but was like, bro, you different. Like, it's no way. Like, even
Perspective.
RB, like, even RB, I remember this a long time ago. He wrote me and was like, bro, when I get out, I want to open up a store. Like, you a good person. Like, make sure you stay straight. So, you got those type of people that's living the life that you think you want to live, but they talking about you. I'm like, bro, I'm a square. I don't got no money. Boy, you'll kill yourself if you had my money. But as you said, it's not all about that all the time. So I thank you for
Mhm.
commending me on that. But we did have a nice village, kind of growing up. Started with my grandparents first and foremost, but those people who were out there in the streets, they wasn't going for it. They
Yeah.
wasn't. They was like, nah, bro, you different. This not for you. Stay over there. Stay over there. You can hang out. We can go out to eat, go to the club, but you stay over there.
Stay on the sidewalk.
Stay on the sidewalk. Like they said, the streets ain't made for everybody. That's why they make sidewalks. So
For
thank God
sure.
for sidewalks for me. Sorry, I took on a tangent, but I'm glad we did because that was some good convo right there. So let's kind of pick it up and let's talk about high school. And the reason why I like to bring up high school for most of the people that I interview, because if you like myself, when in high school, we all had dreams, aspirations. Some people want to go to college, some people want to do this. But I like to bring up high school because it sounds to, or all the people I've interviewed more times than not, did not end up where they thought they were going to. So if you kind of touch on like your high school career, maybe some highlights, what you wanted to do, and then you can kind of segue into, the college.
Yeah. So, of course, I went to Estacado. I graduated in '07. I actually played basketball up until I want to say the 11th grade. I quit in the 11th grade. I thought I was going to do track. That was a no. That was a hard no. Coach Cadell, love you
To say
dearly.
Coach Goodell, shit,
No. That
you had to be
was a
ready for
hard
that.
no. Um, but I went into the medical program. I wasted them people time. I wasted my time, but that's kind of what everybody was doing. And so I was like, shoot, I'm gonna do it too. They doing it, I'm gonna do it, whatever. That was a no for me. I went to school for social work. I started off at Angelo State. I was there with you for a little bit. No, I started off at UTA. I started
Oh,
off
yeah,
at
that's right.
UTA in
UTA, UTA,
Arlington. Yes,
UTA.
I
Yeah.
did my freshman year at UTA. Then I went to San Angelo, and then I ended up back home at Tech. I graduated with my bachelor's in social work from Tech. I then went back, and so while I was getting my bachelor's, I worked at, or with my bachelor's, I worked at CPS. And so during my time there, I had a really unique case where one of my kids, she actually had two kids herself, and she ended up committing suicide. And that was like really, really hard on me. It took a toll on me. I named a nonprofit after her, and now my counseling business is named after her, Serenity Lee. Her name was Brianna Lee. And so once she passed, it was hard for me to kind of understand like how, when, why, what could I have done different, those types of things. I got into the counseling program at Tech, and I graduated there with my master's to be a counselor. And so that's kind of how I ended up a therapist. So I'm a social worker and also a therapist.
And see, I'm glad that we got to walk that timeline. But real quick before I ask the follow-up question, did we ever figure out how long you was at Angelo State? I know last time it was either a year or a semester. I think it's a semester or no?
I honestly feel like it had to have been a year. I think
Okay,
I
okay.
did my sophomore year at Angela State. But me and my little sister, we was back and forth to Lubbock so much. She ended up moving back to Tennessee, and I just went on back down the street to Lubbock. I
Yeah.
moved back home.
Okay. Well, like she said, we was at Angelo State, and I tell people this all the time, man. Angelo State was a time. I got both of my degrees from Angelo State, and ooh, yeah, a lot of fun, a lot of education, a lot of money spent. But thank God, I did my 10 years, so I don't owe them anything. Like
A lot of
I'm,
partying.
yeah, I did a lot of partying, but I did my 10 years of working for a state institution, so my student loans is forgiven. So thank God for
Oh,
that.
nice.
Yeah,
You know
thank God for
what
that.
I appreciated with Angelo State out of the three colleges I went to, that was the college I was most involved in. And I think I could say the same for my sister too. I think she would agree. Like we were really involved with like community work and just networking there. The other colleges, I was just kind of like getting my work done, going home, getting my work done, going to school, going to work. I didn't really engage. Angelo State, they had a lot of opportunities for engagement.
And that's the sad thing. The only thing I engaged in was rec sports, which it worked out for me because that's where I work at.
Hey,
But I
yeah,
look back like, damn, I should have been taking advantage of this. Because when I went to work at my first university after graduating, I was like, bro, did we have this kind of stuff at Angelo? And I reached back and like you said, it was
oh
whatever you could think of
yes,
weekly,
yes.
it was something going on that you could be involved in. And at that time, I just thought I was too cool. I wanted to party. I just wanted to play flag football. So I'm glad that you got to, be involved because
Oh,
I
for
most
sure.
definitely was not. I was not. So you kind of touched on the nonprofit. You touched on the situation that kind of helped inspire that. I think we mentioned it last time. Kudos to you. I like to give people their flowers for doing the social work, and I touched on it last time. Is that when I was in undergrad, I took sociology as an elective, and I said, hell no. I mean, my heart. I mean, I have a big heart, and I couldn't do it. Like just listening to some of the stories, whether it was through text or through, the things that we saw, like that was going on around the region or the nation. I don't have the heart for that. So
Yeah.
I know we touched on it last time, and I want to bring it back up too, because you did make a very valid point about how you did the transition. But can you explain to the people how you're able to transition from, the work life to going home? Because no matter what, with some of those cases, maybe in the beginning, and you kind of walk them through it, you're gonna have to bring it home just
Yeah.
because it's new and that's what you're doing, and you have to kind of adjust. So, can you kind of tell the people how you're able to, or how you were able to, and how you're able to now
Yeah.
to adjust the work life balance dealing with stuff like that?
For sure. So I started off at CPS, and I did that for about 6 years in Region One, or in Lubbock. In Lubbock, I was gonna say Region One, but I did that for about 6 years in Lubbock. And I will say at the beginning of my career, it was hard. I was amazed at some things, and I was never in investigation. So, anytime you say CPS, you automatically think like taking away people's kids. I wasn't involved in investigations. I did permanency, which is like the kids that are, I believe it was 14 to 15 to 18, those that were aging out of care. So I was actually one of the workers that's reaching out to family members like, hey, such and such is in care. Do you think he could come and stay with you? He's getting ready to turn 18. And believe it or not, a lot of families are just like, no. Like they wash their hands. They don't want to deal with CPS. Especially our culture, that those three letters are just triggering, and you don't want to deal with it. Like you stay away from it, whatever the case may be. But I also transitioned into the adoption. So then, when I was new, I was bringing it home all the time. I was just amazed at the things that were going on. I had no balance of work life. If my phone ring at 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock at night, I'm answering it. I just felt like I had to be there. Like I had to save the day. A few years passed and I felt like I became immune to it, which is not a good thing in my opinion. A lot of things just did not bother me at all that should have bothered me. So I moved into the adoption unit. I did that for just a little bit before I got into the master's program. And so now my family tells me that I bring work home in regards to counseling. So now I'm more so like, tell me more. I want to know your feelings. I want to communicate. We're gonna have dialogue. And they just kind of roll their eyes at me, and it's like, this not work. Why you being so? I'm like a mommy therapist or something. So I'm trying to work on that. It's a work in progress. I try to cut back, but I do think it's important to ask the questions. Like we were growing up, it was always like, because I said so.
I often say it was always one-sided. Always.
Yes. And
No
I don't
dialogue was
want
going
that.
on.
I don't want that. I want to hear your side. Like if you now sometimes, not all the time, but there are times that my kids ask me why. I don't want to be offended and get upset about it. I want to be able to give them an answer because sometimes people just need to process the why and then they'll understand like, oh, okay, that makes sense. But if I just say because I said so, it's like, so I'll never be able to do this again in life. I can't never ask the question, you know what I'm saying? And
Mhm.
so I just try to change that at home, but apparently sometimes it's overstimulating and I do bring work home. So that's something that I'm working on in regards to my new profession.
And that's why I brought it up because I know people say leave it at work, but you're still human, and if it's something in your way, it's kind of not as bad. You're not literally bringing the work home. You're just bringing some of those techniques home sometimes.
Yeah.
But some people actually bring work home. But I'm just glad to hear from somebody that's in the field that you're in to say like, yeah, like I do. I'm working on it. But also I'm trying to use some of those techniques at home because I understand how important the dialogue is between me and my kids or me and my spouse or whoever that you may be talking to at home. So I'm glad that you touched on that because me, I know sometimes thank God I live by myself. I just go home and I don't have to talk to nobody about it. I just watch a movie and be done with it. But sometimes somebody call like, man, how was your day? Man, blah blah blah. You just have a whole vent session to go off. So sometimes you just have to take it home. Whether we want to or
Yeah.
not, or we feel like it's good or not. I do think for the most part, just kind of expressing those feelings is just the best thing to do. But I think the way that you're taking it home, it may seem kind of taboo to them right now, but looking
Oh
back, they'll be
yeah.
like, damn, at least my mom was able to ask me like why or explain the why, I should say. So that's
Yeah.
cool. Instead of saying this is what it's gonna be, don't ask no questions. That's kind of what
Sometimes
I do
I
with
do
my
say that
daughter.
though. Now
Yeah, 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 yeah,
sometimes it
yeah.
depends. When we talk about gentle parenting, I'm like, yeah, I have some styles of gentle parenting and I got some styles of natural consequences, and then I'm gonna get on you know what?
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah. We still was raised how we was raised though, so
yeah,
we still got that in there too. The
yeah,
good thing with us is that we can be flexible. Our
yeah,
grandparents they was raised that way. That's how they gonna raise us, and our parents, blah blah blah. But us, we were kind of raised that way. But we also know these students are students. damn, kids don't respond the same way that we responded. So you got to
Yes.
kind of be creative with it, you know. A good whooping always helps, but at the same time, you need to talk a little bit too. You
Yeah, you gotta
know,
explain
don't want,
why. Don't just give the whooping, explain why they got the
yeah,
whooping.
exactly. Go whooping and go sit in your room. Now, now, tell me why I got a whooping and why, how can I not get another one? That's what I need to know.
I got a whooping because I ate the chips. Like, no, it's because you did not ask
Exactly. You
for
didn't ask to
chips.
eat the chips, and there was another bag that was already open. That's why you got the whooping. Oh, okay. So the last time we touched on this, and it's two other things I want to touch on. Two things total. Sorry. One of them is the fact that the book club member. I know we talked about that, and I wanted to make sure that we brought that back because I thought that was so dope. Because once you explain it, I think the other people who will listen will get it too. Because when you told me about the book club, what I thought was a book club is not what you explained. So I want you to explain the book club that you are a member of, and kind of touch on that and how it
Oh wait,
started
you
as
were
well.
you were hot siding on me about my book club?
No, no, no. I just didn't know what it was. Like what I thought a book club was and what you explained was different, and it's actually dope. I just thought a book club was literally just that, but what you explained, it was a little bit more than what I thought
No,
it
it's
was.
it's deeper than a book.
Then that's what I'm
Um
saying. I didn't know that. I just always heard book club. I'm like, I don't want to go sit around and let's read this chapter. Like, let's we have to do something creative. So,
oh
so
yeah,
thank
I
you for
love
telling
it.
me that it's not that.
Yes, joining this book club has been a game changer for me. One of the best things that I've done. We actually started it, I want to say October of 2023, because we had recently celebrated our 1 year. And so it started when we moved here. My son was very involved in baseball, and we got into this baseball organization, and it was primarily African Americans, which was totally new for us as far as baseball goes. You know, that's really not, or it didn't used to be African American sport primarily, but we our whole organization was black. There's a few white people in the organization, but it was family. Like instantly, once we got here, became family. We're at a baseball game, and I just kind of mentioned this lady was reading a book, and I said, "Oh, we should start a book club." Just kind of throwing it out there. And one of the moms was like, okay, when, word. They started like sending out messages. And by that next week, we met and we put the rules out for our book club and we started it. So every month, someone picks a book and then they host and we talk about the book. But this is more like a sisterhood. So we talk about the book, but we're also talking about our kids, our families, our jobs, our husbands. We know a lot about each other. It's more of like a sisterhood mentorship. And I say this with the faith of God as well, but I feel like between my sisters in the book club, if I were to lose my job today, I would have an interview tomorrow. Like we are all well connected in some type of way to where we can look out for each other. If I needed something, I can call one of them. It's a real we listen and we don't judge type of book club. I mean, we cry together, we laugh together, we go to eat together. One of the women in the book club has become like a big sister to me. She's my mentor now. We eat once a month or once every 6 weeks. Her and I meet up to go and eat. She has a very high position with her job. And of course, I want to grow into the next level with my job. And so I kind of feed off of her. We talk about work and she gives me pointers of areas to grow and things I need to work on and what I'm doing well. So I encourage, even if it's not a book club, I encourage you to get a mentor, a group of guys that are like minded, but also on different paths. Someone that like you going and getting in a group with your homeboys, that really ain't going they
Nah,
ain't
you
gonna do
need
the
to be
job.
challenged. You need to be challenged.
Yes, yes. It has to be someone that can challenge you. And luckily for us, we're all like just in different areas of life. I am the youngest of the book club, so I'm like the baby sister. So I'm the rowdy one. But it's fun. And it started with baseball. We are all baseball moms and that's how it started. But now we it's way deeper than that. It's deeper than the books we're reading. It's deeper than the sports that our kids are playing. Like those are truly my sisters, and I learned so much from them. Even my house here, if this house was on the east side where I grew up in, it'd be like, oh wow, that's a nice house. Like that's a cool house. But when I go to their houses, I'm like, oh my God, like it's motivation. Like, dang, if they can do it, I can do it. You know what I'm saying? And so just being around different women, different people, networking, socializing. One of the ladies, she hosted Christmas for us. Very nice house, very beautiful home. And we came in and we made ourselves at home. We drinking, playing games. They got swimming pool in the backyard, patio, pizza stuff. Like it is nice. It's a breath of fresh air. I look forward to my book club meetings. My kids be mad at me. I'm like, what we eat today? I don't know. I got my book club today.
Hey, I got my
So
book club. Y'all better figure
yeah,
it out. Uber Eats or something. I'm going to
yeah,
book
y'all gotta
club.
figure it out. And this month I'm actually hosting, or January, I host the book club, and I chose the book called The Housemaids. It's a really good book. It was our first thriller book. But even that, like me being excited about a book and can explain what type of book, I used to read urban books and that was it. But with this group, like we have read some totally different books to where I was like, I'm not fit to read that. And then I started reading it, and one of them was about boundaries and being able to say no when your family and friends want to borrow from you. And, sometimes we give what we don't have, pouring from empty cups. Like, that's not healthy. And so one of the books
Oh,
was about that.
I
And
need
we
to
were
read that
able
book.
to, huh?
Said I need to read that book.
I might have it. No, I don't. As I said, oh, yes, I do. Look, I got it right here.
Set boundaries, find peace. Yeah, I need to
This
let me
was
type
one
that
of the
in.
books. But yeah, I mean, I love it. I encourage everybody to um not even if it's not a book club, but just get you a circle, network with some people, learn from somebody that can challenge you and that don't think just like you. So
And
yeah,
that's
I
so
love it.
crazy because that's what I was gonna touch on because I know, of course, we had shot this weeks ago, but I just posted something and you said it too. You was like networking kind of like on my social media yesterday, like networking changed everything or whatever. I just wanted you to kind of briefly touch on that because I think after listening to what you said, everybody understands whether it's a book club or just being around I know they say like-minded individuals, but people that can challenge you, I should say. But I think the importance of networking overall, whether that's through mentorship or finding people that's on different career paths, is very important. And I'm glad that you touched on it. So if you wanted to just add anything to that, as far as maybe like a personal experience or just the benefits that you think comes from networking with other people.
Gosh, I just think it's a must. I don't think that anyone can be successful. I don't want to say anyone, but it's a very slim chance of being successful without being able to network and to teamwork. Like if you can do it all by yourself, then it's your project is small.
Yeah, it's not big
It
enough.
ain't big
But
enough. If you can do
you
it
know
all
what?
by yourself.
I'm gonna say something, and I know I don't really like to deal in absolutes, but I'm willing to go on a limb. And you said it's slim. I don't even think it's possible to get to where you need to by yourself.
I don't
I,
either, but I'm like, it's
I,
gonna be that one person that's gonna be like, I ain't have no help. I didn't. Maybe they
but I'm
did.
saying who?
Well,
Who? Like
I
when
don't
you were saying
know.
it, I was thinking
I
about it
don't
because I
know.
like to say slim or whatever, and I don't deal in absolutes at all. But I'm just thinking, and I always bring this back, and I think you will appreciate this because this is what we grew up in. Even with drug dealers or pimps or whatever, like I don't need nobody. Yes, you do. You need people to buy your drugs. You need people to buy the girls or whatever. So no matter what, you need somebody. I don't know
Yeah,
anybody who can make money at that level or make money at all without needing help. Of course, like you said, even if you like mowing a lawn or something, yeah, you're gonna make money, but you're gonna still need clientele. So
yeah.
you need help.
Everybody
You
needs
need help.
somebody. Yeah.
so but I know what you were
And
saying,
that's
and I
and
agree. It's
yes,
it's rare.
God is the provider, and He's gonna
Correct.
make.
Correct. He gonna put you in those rooms and make those connections,
There you
blah blah
go.
blah. But you have to meet him though. A lot of people like for God to do this, but it's not this. And that's why I think I don't even know if it's in the Bible, but I've heard it a lot of times that faith without works is dead. So you can have all the faith in the world, but if you're not working, God, like, hey, I'm already over here, bro. I just need you to come. You just gonna stay over
Yeah.
here? Well, I'm gonna stay over here, and you stay over there, but it's never gonna happen. So
And
yeah,
and
I'm
I
glad you
can give
touched on
you an
that.
I could give you a quick example too with my oils. So as you know, I've been pretty much doing it by myself. My during peak seasons, like my mom or my daughter would come in and help me, but I do it by myself. My aunt, who's also another mentor to me, she told me this quote. She said, "When opportunity meets preparation, that's when you'll have success." Well, in September, October 2023, my oils went viral on TikTok. So I was not prepared for that opportunity. Like I said, I was doing it all by myself, but it forced me to have to call on my mama, my daughter, my brother, and I ended up having to pay them I didn't have to pay them, but it was a lot of work. And I paid them, like I paid them
Just made
hourly
sense.
to help me. Yeah. I mean, the orders were coming in. I was not prepared for it. There was no way in hell I could have done that all by myself. My homegirls came down for we getting ready to fly out for vacation. We didn't get no sleep. They helped me all night preparing these orders. We're going back and forth to the post office, damn near up until our flight left. And so just having that network, having that support system, because I'm sorry, but I don't think everybody has some homegirls or homeboys that's gonna be willing to do what they did for me.
You know,
And not and but I have that support. I have that circle. Like my circle is very small, but it's with people that I know I can depend on and they can depend on me. And then that's outside of my book club girls. Cause I'm sure I could have called them. They're like, what? We gotta do what? But they gonna come. But yeah, so you have to network, you have to be kind, you have to show grace, give grace. Like it's those things are very, very important to be successful.
I only have two other things left, and I hate to go in reverse, but I mean, you kind of touched on it. I most definitely had to touch on sassy oil. So if you can kind of, I know you already explained how it went viral, and some of the success of it, but if you don't mind, let's touch on like how it started, and let's talk about, as I know, as being an entrepreneur as well, like just the I know people kind of understand, but like talk about the whole process of like being an entrepreneur is not as sweet as people think it is. It's not as lucrative
No.
as people think it is, especially in the beginning. Maybe down the line, but if you kind of touch on like how it started and kind of where you at with the business now.
So I started Sassy Oils exactly 9 years ago. 2025 will be my 10-year anniversary. And so we are planning something pretty big for that. But I was working at CPS, I believe. Yeah, I came to Dallas looking for a cash car because back then we had to drive everywhere. That job would just tear up your car. So I came here looking for I was looking for a cash car and I was talking to my dad, went by to see him and was just telling him like I need a side hustle. I gotta try to make some money, whatever, whatever. Might have been like some income tax or something, I don't know. And this old man overheard me and he was like telling me I need to invest in oils. He said, people love to smell good no matter 10, 20 years from now, people gonna still want to smell good. You need to look into like body oils. Well, when I was introduced to the guy, somehow I fell in love with like the home oils, the car sprays, those types of things. And so I'm not a salesman. And I was like, I don't know how this gonna work. But the oils just really sold themselves. Like I would make posts on Facebook and people would come and I've never had a customer who didn't return. And so that's kind of how my oils just stay consistent is because it was returning customers or somebody may buy some for a friend and now that friend has become a customer. So that's like word of mouth, right? And so I kind of survived off of that for shoot 6, 7 years. I do have a website, www.sassyoil.com. I do have a website, and then my daughter talked me into getting a TikTok shop. And I was not trying to hear her about that, but I finally went ahead and did it. And I posted a random video that caught the algorithm one day and it went viral. And so TikTok took me to another level as far as sales and things. And so even and my TikTok ended up getting hacked and all this craziness. So I lost my page and kind of had to start over. And it took a lot of my what do you call it? Like my ambition, my
Mhm.
drive. It took from that. And as you know, with a business, you have to be consistent. If you
Got to.
want to be successful, you have to be consistent. And I've never been consistent with Sassy Oils. My customers have been more consistent than I have because I have a lot of returning customers. But there are times where I'm just like, this ain't worth it. I don't feel like it. I don't want to post. So whatever the case may be. But if those people that are content creators, it's not easy. They are putting in work. They posting, they making videos. When they say everything is content, everything is freaking content. Like you have to put in the work, but you will get those benefits from putting in the work. Like I've seen it happen. I know had I kept at it, like I probably would have had to quit my job to continue with what I had going at the time, and I wasn't prepared. I wasn't prepared for that opportunity. I'm not in a position to be able to quit my job. Even with my private practice, I'm still hanging on to my job. And so, and that's another, that's another entrepreneurship is doing my private practice, but it's a lot of work. Having a business, having kids, having a family, it's a lot of work. It takes a lot of time. You have to be able to manage your time, which is something else that I learned through this process of Sassy Oils is how important time management is and actually putting aside an hour a day to work on whatever it is to research or to post content or to process your orders or whatever it may be. I think that a lot of times we just see the good in businesses and it's like, oh, they doing that. Oh, I'm about to start me a business. I can sell oils too. And a lot of people have tried to sell oils and they give up. And I know why, because it's slow money. It can be very slow. But if you stay consistent and you keep grinding, you got a good product. It's going to sell itself. And then I think we talked about this last time, just that target audience. I think that's where a lot of us fail at because we're all
Yep.
targeting the east side or our family and friends. Mm-mm.
Can't do it. You can't scale support, baby. You can't scale
It ain't
support.
them.
It
It
ain't
ain't
them.
them.
It's good that
I
they want to support and help, but if you trying, like we said earlier, if you're trying to get it to where it needs to get to, got to think outside of that.
way outside of that. And I think that, like I said, TikTok took me to that next level to where and I did something with TikTok to where if somebody orders on TikTok, I'm bringing them back around to my website. So now I have a lot of orders on my website that, that's keeping me going and it keeps me motivated at times. But you know how it is, Tuki, with a business. There are some days you just don't, you do that negative talk.
You like, man, ain't nobody about nothing. It's time to give it up.
You got a week with zero sales and it's like, man, I'm wasting my time because I still got to pay for my website, I still got other things to pay for, but then you may have that week where you sell out.
And you said weeks, hell, I done had months. I ain't sold a hat, a shirt, nothing. I'm like, shit, man, I'm done with
but
this.
ha- but have you done your part?
No, that's why I said I don't be tripping about like not selling it because I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be doing. It's
Yeah.
very rare that I do what I'm supposed to do and don't sell something. More times than not, it's because of what I'm not doing. As you said, maybe the content or the being consistent. So it always
Yes.
falls back on me for sure, every
Yeah.
time.
And I've even thought about like hiring a marketer or someone to help me because I do feel like I'm at that point where I need a team, but I think the thought of paying for the help gets scary because you just never know what's gonna happen, right? But you
Never
gotta take
know.
a risk. You gotta take a
Yeah,
risk. I get that.
yeah.
So
Got
I
to in
think
business. You got to take that risk.
yeah, yeah, for sure. Because you gotta have time for it. And Luckily, Sassy Oils has just kind of, it's been cool, it's been good, but I think I'm ready to go ahead and take it to that next level, which is going to take a team. Like, I know I can't do it alone. It's that networking thing. So, yeah.
I'll be looking forward to that because if you do what you say you're gonna do, as we just said, if you being consistent and you doing what your job and then providing the getting those resources, it's gonna work out. So I can't wait to see where you take it to now. Hell, you already went viral on TikTok, so now you're gonna be just popping out here in general. You ain't gonna need to go viral. It's just gonna be a thing. So can't wait to see that.
And that's what I want. I don't want to have to post and stuff. I just wanted to do what it do. I don't want to make commercials and stuff. I want to be like a foreign car. It's just,
Yeah,
I
you
don't need
know it's there.
commercials.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
know the
come get
value.
it.
You know what you're getting. Yeah, you know what you're getting. Well, all right, Miss Reed, we coming full circle. So I wanted to end this discussion. I know it's a podcast, but I like to say this the discussion. Just kind of touching on like, where you at right now in life, some things that you look forward to as you just alluded to, taking Sassy Oils to the next level, but just some things to look forward to and also kind of what we touched on last time as well, some things that you think will help not only, the brothers and sisters, us, but just anybody in general in this thing we call life. Because I think coming from the profession that you in, you have some real good insight and some things and tools that we can use that may have been taboo in our community. So once again, just kind of come full circle, touch on where you at in life, what you want to do, and some things that you feel that we need to be utilizing in our communities.
So definitely my oils is something that I'm planning to work harder on this upcoming year, along with my private practice. So I will be offering individual and family counseling. I have a niche for mother and daughter relationships. And so that's something that I'm really touching in on. And then let's see what else. I'm really looking forward to my kids and their sports journeys this upcoming year. My daughter took a little time off again from track. And so last time she did that, I was like, you ain't gonna make it to nationals. And we made a bet about me locking up my hair. If she made it, I was gonna get locks. She made it. So I got locks. But this year it's actually in Houston. And so it's going to be a lot more competition. And so I'm looking forward to seeing if she makes it. I know she can. She's capable. She just has to put in the work. And then my son has decided that he doesn't want to do baseball, which is sad for me. And he's going into basketball this season. So that's something that I am also looking forward to. And then I definitely want to just kind of leave on a note of therapy. And I remember watching one of your podcasts. I think it was with you and your friends from
Oh yeah,
the
yeah,
Baylor boys.
yeah, yeah.
Y'all kind of touched on counseling, and I was just like, "Oh my God, yes, 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 yes." I think that everyone needs to give it a try. It's not for everybody. I get that. And like you said, it was taboo in our culture, but I think people are more open to the idea now of counseling. And even if it's not for you, maybe for your kids, because there are so many things that we don't feel comfortable with discussing or that we just hold inside, that when you go talk to someone that's non-biased, that's not going to judge you, that don't know you from Adam and Eve, then you're able to just let those things out, get some advice, learn some tools to be a better you. And so I think that that is very, very important. And maybe counseling isn't for you, but at least, or I don't want to say at least, because just as important, getting a mentor,
Hmm.
and that's even for your kids too. I remember back in the day they used to do the big brother, big sister. You really don't have that much anymore, but having somebody that's not in the family, that doesn't know everything about you, that has to get to learn you, has to get to know you for who you want them to know, it's important. It's life changing. I am a therapist. I go to therapy. this year 2023, I was very impulsive and impatient and did some crazy things, made some crazy decisions financially, life changing. Just, I was impulsive all 2023. 2024 was just a game changer for me. I got back in counseling. I finished my hours to be a full-time counselor, and it's just been good. And so I'm really, really looking forward to this upcoming year. I kind of do my years by my age. So since my birthday, I've been working on my goals.
Oh, I
But
got you. I got you.
yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Well, I mean, as I said earlier, I'm looking forward to not only what you do with your business, but your private practice, like all the things that you have going on, because I think that's dope. Excuse me, not only to see somebody from my neighborhood to be successful, but to be successful in the career path that you took, because a lot of people don't take that path, whether they from our community or not. But for sure, from our community, they not going into that space. So for to see that you are thriving in that space and also willing to share the resources and help people to understand that, I think it's dope because I mean, we can just say it. We don't look into that. We always like we're gonna hold it in. We're gonna figure it out. I'm gonna talk to my homeboy about it. Man, that ain't who you need to talk to. Like you said earlier, that's not about nothing. Put yourself in those challenging groups with those people, whether
Yes.
it's a book club, mentorship, whatever. But also take it to the next level. Go seek some additional resources through counseling or whatever, because I think that's going to help. Out tremendously. So I know I said it last time, and I just was waiting till the new year because I'm gonna go back to El Paso, look at my insurance stuff that's covered by the school, and see if I can get in with somebody. Whether it's, I mean, who knows? I might try it and it's amazing, or I might try it and it don't work, but I at least want to try it. So
Oh
I'm
yeah.
glad that put the emphasis on saying that again, because you did say it last time as well. So thank you for keeping the pressure on me because I'm most definitely going to try it and I will follow up and let
Please.
you know that I did. And I, even when I sign up for my first session, I'm gonna send you like, hey, look, I did it. I'll let you know how it go for sure because I think it's
What's
most
what's
definitely.
the what's the date? What's the deadline so I can hold you accountable
Oh, like I'm gonna do
for
this
you to
like
make
by
your appointment? 'Cause-
Friday. By Friday, like I'm gonna go look it up. I
okay.
go back to work Thursday, so yeah, by Friday I'm gonna look into where I need to go. Or Thursday I'm gonna look into it, and hopefully I can have some by Friday at least like scheduled out. You know what I'm saying? So yeah,
I'm
yeah, I
touch
ain't
base with
wasting no
you on
time.
Monday. I'm gonna give
Yeah,
you till
I ain't.
Monday.
Yeah, I learned that in grad school. Just go and get stuff done because the longer you put it off, it turned into next year. So when I go to work Thursday, I'm gonna, catch up on emails, blah, blah, blah. But bam,
Yeah.
I'm going right to it. Hey, who do I need to call for these resources? They gonna let me know and I'm gonna call and set up an appointment.
And I think that's something a lot of people don't know too, is that most jobs have that EAP. And so it allows you to get like 6 free sessions. So even if it doesn't work, it didn't cost you nothing.
Yep.
You know,
And
it
that's why I said
was
I think ours is free. I don't know how many sessions or whatever, but
hmm
I know we do have those resources. So
yeah.
hey, I'm gonna try it out. Even if it's just one free session, I'm at least try.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
So
Hopefully you enjoy it. You get a good person that you can connect with, and yeah,
I'm sure
it's
it'll be
life
good because I
changing.
need to talk to somebody. Hell, I've been being people's therapist and Dr. Phil for 38, 39 years. It's my turn to sit down
Oh
and
yeah.
put my feet up. And I just always envision that. I know it's probably not like that, but that's how they show you in the movies. They sit down and lay back on the couch and talk with their feet up.
Yes.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's like that. I don't
It's
know.
it's not always like that, but you definitely have those clients, especially some of these teenagers. They come in and they get comfortable, and I'm here for it
Yeah. So that's
because
what I
I
want.
might.
I want to be. I want to be comfortable and vulnerable and all that. So,
Yeah.
so I'm like I said, if you touch base with me on Monday, I'm gonna have an appointment for sure set up.
Okay. I'm gonna do that.
Well, once again, thank you very much for being on the Some Get It Some Don't podcast. And I want to even thank you even more for reshooting this episode because we had some technical difficulties. I think
No
the last
problem.
episode was dope, but this one I think it was better because it actually worked out and we got to do it the last episode of 2024. So that's some special to be said. So I wanted to just say thank you for taking the time to do it because I know a lot of people be with their family and stuff on today. So thank you for taking time out to shoot this episode. So I really
Of
appreciate you.
course. No, thank you for having me, and thanks, Melvin, for referring me.
Yep, I did say that the last time. So yeah, Mel did most definitely say, hey, put Ree on there. Because I mean, I'm be honest with you, like I said, the first time we haven't talked like this probably ever in life, especially this
No.
long. So I didn't know all the stuff that you had going on. I even reached out to Shonda. She the one told me about some of that stuff that you did. Was like, how did you know that? It was Shonda. She the one who
Oh,
told
because
me
I
about
did. I
that.
was like, how do you know about the book club? How do you know
Yeah,
about
yeah, yeah.
this? Yeah.
Yeah, I try to
Okay.
reach out to people. Like, if I don't know the people well enough, I reach out. Like, hey, man, tell me something that a lot of people may not know that you think they should know about X. So that's how I found out. So salute to Shonda too.
They even tell me. Okay, okay. I see
Yeah,
what
so
y'all
she,
got going on.
yes, yeah, so she'll be tuned in and she'll see and be like, oh, okay, I told them that. So yeah, she played a part in making all this happen and giving me the my talking points. So thanks to Shonda
Okay.
too. Y'all go check out Hillside, by the way. Well, all right,
Well,
Miss Ree, you have a good one, man. Like I said, I truly appreciate you once again for doing this for me.
all righty. Thank you and Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you too.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.